Tonight on News 5 Live, Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador calls on Prime Minister John Briceño in a whirlwind visit to Belize. We'll tell you what came out of the high-level meetings. Is there an about-face in government's position on a cannabis referendum? And Belize's oldest woman, Leonora Patnett, passes away at age 108. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new SmartStream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, SmartStream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with SmartStream.
Since its launch, over 900 students have successfully completed the Social Security Scholarship Program.
I am Renata Samuels. I am the Year Report Coordinator for the Department of Youth Services. I received the Social Security Scholarship for high school in 2010. Upon receiving it, I was beyond happy, thankful, and super relieved to know that I relieved my mom from the financial constraint of having to pay for my high school. It actually pushed me to work even harder to know that I am deserving of this scholarship. I implore others, apply for this scholarship. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain, as well as being one step closer to your own dreams.
The Social Security Board is committed to providing educational opportunities to persons on a mission to improve their lives and communities.
Get ready. Universal Hardware is doing it again with a mega sale in Belize City from May 19th to May 21st. Enjoy deep discounts on Lifan motorcycles, Echo chainsaws, Shindaiwa brush cutters, Makita power tools, Easy Care paint, Cali flooring, Toolcraft hand tools, Sankey AC units, and much more.
Grand raffle on May 21st. Don't miss out.
Universal Hardware, the preferred solutions provider.
Belikin, the bear of Belize.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Monday, May 9th. I am Sabrina Daly. President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador is on his return to Mexico following a tour of several Central American countries and Cuba. The Mexican president met with government leaders from Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and Belize before heading to Havana. His shortest stop along the tour was here in Belize, where he spent a little under 4 hours. He met with Prime Minister John Briceño as well as ministers and CEOs and settled agreements on trade, education, agriculture, infrastructure, and transport, and plans on the Central American Conference on Migration. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
Just before midday on Saturday, the official aircraft carrying Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador touched down at the Philip Golson International Airport. He was welcomed onto Belizean soil before being escorted to the Leng Building in Belize City for a meeting with Prime Minister John Briceño and other government ministers and CEOs. In an effort to expand and strengthen ties between both countries, President Obrador and PM Briceño signed off on numerous agreements. The goal is to help with the high level of poverty in Belize.
All these programs that Mexico is offering us in Belize is assisting us in fighting poverty. We know that poverty continues to be one of the biggest social problems that we have, or challenges that we have in Belize. Because of the pandemic, poverty went up as high as 60%.
Belize and Mexico have enjoyed diplomatic relations for over 40 years. In his official statement following the meeting, the Mexican president spoke of cooperation in areas such as education, food security, and more.
Desde intercambios educativos y culturales hasta los de información tributaria, la preservación de zonas arqueológicas, la protección y mejora del medio ambiente, desde la cooperación científica y técnica hasta el transporte aéreo, desde la cooperación energética hasta la defensa del consumidor, desde la navegación en las aguas territoriales hasta las campañas de salud, de seguridad social, de seguridad pública.
Aside from PM Briceño's request to have Belize benefit from Mexico's Tren Maya program, Belize will also be able to export agricultural produce to Mexico tax-free.
Luego de muchos años, hemos declarado de nuevo zona libre de pago de impuestos a Chetumal y a toda la frontera con Belice. También, además del comercio, está floreciendo el turismo por las bellas playas del Caribe y los sitios naturales y arqueológicos de nuestros dos países. Asimismo, Belice se beneficiará con el Tren Maya. Acabamos de tomar el acuerdo con el primer ministro para que México suprima sus aranceles a productos que Belice pueda exportar a nuestro país. Es decir, se va a poder exportar a México desde Belice alimentos, productos agrícolas, carne de res y otros alimentos básicos, sin pago de impuestos. Se suspenden los aranceles.
By removing these taxes, the import taxes to Mexico, it will give our Belizean farmers an opportunity to be able to compete. I can remember for many years when we were in government between 1998 and 2008, we worked very hard to be able to export rice into Mexico, but we were never successful in that. With the opportunities that the president is giving us today, we will be able to export rice, cattle, shrimp, fish, corn, beans, many products that they need to be able to eat in Mexico. And this is going to be a game changer for Belize, not only for the farmers, but for us as a country, that we'll be able to export all these products.
A letter of intent was also signed between Foreign Affairs Ministers Eamon Courtney and Marcelo Ebrard Casaubon for the implementation of the Sowing Life in Belize, which will benefit approximately 2,000 farmers with training and implementation of the agro-silvopastoral production system that incorporates trees and crops into livestock industry. This will boost food security and job creation.
This is a very unique program that Mexico has come up with. A program that can help our people in the rural areas, our poor people, that can help stem migration away from our countries. Because by working in agriculture, working in the rural areas, Mexico is assisting us to be able to work with at least 2,000 farmers, assisting us with technology, assisting with some of the inputs that we would need, and also with even funding to be able to help these 2,000 farmers.
PM Briceño and President Obrador also endorsed Mexico's desire to strengthen the educational system and explore the development of Escuela Mexico in Corozal and 3 other educational institutions specialized in technical vocation. So there will be a total of 4 Mexican schools in Belize. Dwayne Moody for News 5.
One government official who was elated about the opportunities for farmers and improving food security was Minister of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise, Jose Abelardo May. Just last week, Minister May spoke to News 5 about further expanding trade relations with Mexico and tapping into that market, which has approximately 128 million people. Minister May breaks down the proposed investment in farmers and what it means by Sembrando Vida, or the Sowing Life program, coming to Belize.
Means that 2,000 farmers will be getting a small stipend monthly for 4 months to produce selected commodities which we have to determine at the technical team in the Ministry of Agriculture. They will also provide agro inputs for the production of these commodities. We estimate that it could be between $8 and $10 million that this program will be supporting in terms of value of the project. So it is a tremendous boost to the productive sector. It is targeting small farmers. And I think that this is one of the greatest moments in the history of these two countries. 2,000 small farmers receiving this kind of assistance at a time when we are recovering from COVID, I think is one of the greatest things that happened to us. From what the President announced today, I am extremely happy. I cannot find the words. I think the Mexican President and his government have been extremely kind to Belize. Yeah, the announcement today of Sembrando Vida and the announcement of a tariff-free export to Mexico is something that we've been dreaming of for many, many years.
The program is done in Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras. The cost of living continues to increase with the rise in prices of several basic items over the last year. According to the Statistical Institute of Belize, prices for basic goods rose by almost 6% during March of 2021 to March of 2022. Food items like pigtails and tomatoes recorded an above 50% increase. We asked the Prime Minister for his thoughts on both the rising cost of goods and his administration's response.
And I believe that generally Belizeans understand that a lot of what we're facing, it is out of our control. It is not in our hands. Even in agriculture, when we grow our own food or vegetables, for instance, the cost continues to go up because the inputs we use, the fertilizers, the insecticides, the seeds, the fuel, all of that is brought in from outside, and the cost of that continues to go up. So Belizeans understand that is not something that is being done by our government. And also Belizeans have seen that we are trying to do everything that we possibly can to be able to hold it down as best as we possibly can. For instance, we have the supplies control that is actively visiting shops, and when they see a case of price gouging, they give them tickets and they're probably taking to court. We've been asking consumers to be able to send in their WhatsApp pictures when they see prices of price gouging. We have been trying to work on taxes, how we can play a little bit with the taxes. The biggest example is fuel, where we're setting up a fund at the central bank, whereby we can try to hold on the price of diesel, for instance. It's still too high at $13, a little over $13. But as it is right now, we have removed more than $1 in taxes.
Prime Minister John Briceño also weighed in on the opposition's call for the Minister of Home Affairs and the Commissioner of Police to resign. PM Briceño argues that Minister Musa has been able to do more than the previous administration in fighting crime. As for Compal Williams, PM Briceño says his legal and policing experience serve as an asset in the PUP administration's crime-fighting strategy.
I would repeat again what Mr. Price used to always tell us in cabinet. So when your opponents start to praise you, sit back and think what stupid thing you have done. When you compare what our Minister of Police presently, Honorable Karim Musa, is doing, comparing to what the previous ministers, including their chairman of the party, that big person of a man, was done, it's between night and day. Karim has been doing an excellent job with the hand that was given to him. There are many systemic problems that we have to address in the police department. In the police department, we know that during the UDP times, for you to become a police officer, you had to get a written note from one of the UDP ministers. That is no longer in effect. So there are a lot of police officers that should not be in that department. As to the issue of the commissioner and the people around him, I mean, when you look at it, the commissioner is a person that has the most experience at this time to be able to help us. He has gone through under UDP government, and now he's going on through our government. We could have taken the position, so, oh, you may work with UDP, so we're going to fire you. We were not doing that. We're saying, okay, let's use your experience, not only as a police officer, but also as an attorney, that we can use his knowledge of policing, his experience, and his ability and experience. That's something that we have to use. And so, working together with him, openly and transparently, we are starting to see some results. That the numbers, when you compare them to what we had under the UDP, is improving. Now, is it anywhere where we want it to be? Absolutely not. We have a very long way to go.
In response to the opposition's repeated call for his resignation, Karim Musa, the Minister of Home Affairs and New Growth Industry, says Belizeans have been able to see the results of the work his ministry has undertaken in fighting crime. Minister Musa also responded to calls for a state of emergency in areas where violent crimes are concentrated. He did not completely dismiss the idea, but argued against state of emergencies being the solution.
In relation to the request once again for my resignation, I think Belizeans are not in any way fooled by the noise that is being made. They realize that the previous government had 13 years of a chance, of an opportunity to fix crime in this country. And you can see from just the statistics over the last year and a half, even in COVID, where financially and economically our people took a hit, even then crime was down compared to the UDP years. And so people are not stupid, Jules. They can understand that crime is a very complex issue. They understand that the programs and the initiatives that we are putting in place is not an overnight fix. I know that the previous administration or the representatives now, the ones that are making the noise, are calling for a state of emergency. And I'm saying to them that that is only a band-aid temporary fix. You are creating monsters. Yes, they're going behind bars, but they come out and they continue to commit crime. And I'm not in any way saying that we will not have another state of emergency, because there comes a time when too many people are being killed. We have to realize that, and the retaliations are just ongoing, that we have to say, you know what, there needs to be a pause, a timeout, because it's getting really out of hand. So I'm not saying that that is not an option. I'm just saying that that is not the remedy to crime, and that is what the United Democratic Party feels.
Coming up is early retirement for Assistant Commissioner Marco Vidal, and are MS-13 gang members fleeing El Salvador for Belize. Details when we return.
Necesitas un proveedor de servicio móvil que te permita estar conectado con una cobertura LTE rápida y confiable en cualquier instante y desde cualquier lugar. ¿Quieres hablar con tu familia? ¿Compartir tus experiencias con alguien especial? ¿Administrar tu pequeña empresa? Para todo lo que necesites te mereces la mejor experiencia móvil. Ahora puedes hacer mucho más con los planes de datos postpago aumentados de Digi. Puedes disfrutar de 8 GB de datos en cualquier instante por tan solo $55 mensuales. O puedes compartir hasta 120 GB con 6 de tus amigos más cercanos. Estos son más datos LTE para que disfrutes durante el día, por las noches y los fines de semana sin restricciones. Disfruta a lo máximo con más datos para llamadas y mensajes ilimitados en todos los planes postpago de Digi. Visita la tienda Digi más cercana para inscribirte hoy. Solo necesitas una identificación válida y un comprobante de domicilio. Únete a la red de mayor velocidad y cobertura en Belice. Para más información visita nuestra página web www.livedigi.com o envíanos un mensaje a través de WhatsApp o Facebook. Digi, nuestra telecomunicación nacional.
Toyota responds. Toyota always responds. When you buy a Toyota from an official dealer, you not only get the most accurate car for your country, but also the best companion in every step of the journey. Getting your Toyota at official dealers brings you closer to original spare parts, to top maintenance, to the most specialized service. But most importantly, you will never be alone. Get your Toyota in an official dealer and we will always be there for you. Toyota.
We have traveled and we have consulted with communities across Belize to ensure the best solutions for their energy needs. Under BEL's Rural Electrification Program, and with funds provided by both BEL and the European Union, mini-grid systems will be constructed in several remote communities in northern and southern Belize.
This mini-grid, this will benefit us. The school will benefit, the church will benefit, and the people.
Belize Electricity Limited. We remain committed to delivering safe, reliable, and sustainable energy solutions.
¿Sabías que Hospital Galenia modificó los protocolos de seguridad y prevención de salud ante la pandemia de COVID-19 para evitar contagios?
Se garantiza que todo paciente que llega a quirófano está libre de COVID y durante su periodo de recuperación no va a tener contacto con un paciente infectado.
Hospital Galenia, más que un hospital.
Welcome to Design Depot, all in one place. Shop brands you know and trust, like Kohler. Welcome, GE Appliances.
Welcome,
Oran Windows.
Welcome,
Tiles from around the world.
welcome.
Sherwin-Williams Paint and Coatings. Visit us today at Mile 3 on the Philip Golson Highway or call us at 223-3768. Design Depot, all in one place.
The church's effort to gather 20,000 signatures in an attempt to trigger a writ of referendum on the cannabis bill is remarkable and good for democracy, says Karim Musa, the Minister of Home Affairs and New Growth Industries. But only a couple of weeks ago, Minister Musa suggested that the time had passed to trigger a referendum on the issue. Following the delivery of those signatures to the Governor General on Tuesday of last week, Cabinet praised the church's efforts. We asked Minister Musa if Cabinet has had a change of heart. Here is how he responded.
When I said Cabinet will make a decision then, and I'm saying it again now, because Cabinet has made a decision, is that we would give the church time. They were going through a very onerous exercise, to get all of these signatures. We were supposed to sign the law on the 22nd. The Governor General was to sign that into law. By that date, the church had not come up with their signatures. But you can't then leave them out in the cold after doing all of that work to say, oh, we're still going to sign it into law. We are not the previous administration, Jules. We believe in democracy. We believe in the Referendum Act. And if they are in compliance with the terms of the Referendum Act, then we will have a referendum on this issue. And so Cabinet's decision then is realizing what the church was doing, getting these signatures. We were awaiting them to deliver it to the Governor General. That has been done, and there's a vetting process, a 60-day vetting process that is now being undertaken by the Elections and Boundaries Office. But what I want to say is this, Jules. I think what has transpired in the last 2 to 3 months is absolutely remarkable and good for democracy, because I've been talking about this thing for a year and 4 months, and yes, I've had consultations with different groups, the Medical and Dental Association, the Chamber of Commerce, the churches.
Weed, says Minister Musa, is a normal part of life and it is not going anywhere. And his justification for the legalization of the industry, he pointed to the economic and social pros of the bill. Minister Musa says Cabinet has agreed that the industry will bring economic benefits, as well as help to decrease the number of violent crimes directly linked to the drug trade.
We absolutely did have a consultation with the Council of Churches, not with NIAB, with the Council of Churches. So let me make that very clear. And other interest groups. And so that was a good process, but it was never out for public debate and consumption. And I think now that it is, we are seeing very positive discourse on this particular issue. And I think at the end of the day, no matter how you cut it, this particular industry, this particular substance, as some people would refer to it, was made legal in 2017, was decriminalized. And so there's a lot of unpacking that we have to do now to see where this particular bill benefits a situation where weed is not going anywhere. Weed is a normal part of life. But the question is, can we get economic benefit from it? Can we see medicinal benefit from it? Can we get societal benefit from it? Meaning including young men who are part of the trade in an official legal business so they don't have to be killing one another and dodging the police and living that particular life. Then you look at the concerns that the churches have raised. They have said, oh, but it's now going to be used by minors. Absolutely not. We have changed the law to say you have to be 21 years old to actually qualify to get a card.
ACP Marco Vidal is going on early retirement. On Friday, the Governor General of Belize approved his application for early retirement. The department is now in talks with his attorney to settle on a retirement package. But is this a simple slap on the wrist for ACP Vidal, who was also the subject of an investigation into a drug plane landing that saw 4 officers from his COS team arrested and charged? Is ACP Vidal being let off the hook while being awarded a handsome retirement package? Well, Karim Musa, the Minister of Home Affairs, says the investigation found that ACP Vidal had no involvement in the landing of the drug plane. The investigation was conducted by members of the Anti-Narcotic Unit in collaboration with the DEA. When we caught up with the minister on Saturday, this is what he told us.
As you know, the investigation specifically into ASP Vidal's involvement or non-involvement, ACP's involvement or non-involvement in the drug plane landing. There was nothing that was uncovered in that investigation, but I can confirm that we are in talks with his attorney at law to have him go on early retirement.
But it's you all that failed to produce within the specified 90 days. You all failed to produce the findings of any investigation.
Produce it to you?
Produce it to the Security Services Commission. That is a requirement. You all made public allegations against this man, the commissioner and yourself, that there were administrative irregularities. Yes. But you had 90 days to produce something for the Security Services Commission, and you failed.
I don't know that that is the case, Jules. What I'm telling you is that there was no criminal wrongdoing that was uncovered, and as such we are in talks, like I said, with his attorney to have that matter settled.
But we've had a sovereign level failure, a sovereign level exposure of Belize as the state or agents of the state, high-level agents, facilitating the landing of drug planes. That is the allegation. And you mean out of this huge sovereign level embarrassment, you can't come up with nothing concrete, sir?
I don't know if you were there, Jules, but you saw the police officers who were arrested and charged. I don't see how you have arrived at the conclusion that we have not arrested and charged.
These officers were allowed to operate with impunity as members of COS by Mr. Vidal, empowered by Mr. Williams, with your agreement, acquiescence. With your acquiescence.
Absolutely not.
They operated with impunity. They moved around this country at will and at whim.
I would not agree with you at all on that, Jules. I know you put that to the Commissioner of Police in the past, and he has said he's not one that micromanages, but I don't think you expect me as minister to be following around these officers to see what exactly they're doing in their course of duties, but there was never any report made. I know that there are rumors of their acting with impunity, and if those have materialized into, in fact, allegations, formal allegations, then further action could have been taken at a disciplinary level within the police department, but there's nothing on file.
In his comments on the ACP Marco Vidal investigation, Commissioner of Police Chester Williams revealed that there were infractions uncovered, but that they were of an administrative nature and only minor infractions. Compal Williams reiterated the investigation into the drug plane landing did not find ACP Vidal complicit. Compal further argued that he was not aware of the intent of the 4 officers charged in the landing, nor is there anything to suggest ACP Vidal had knowledge of their plans.
As we had said before, that the only thing we uncovered during the investigation was that there were some administrative failures on his part. When you read the public service or the Constitution Public Service Regulation, which deals with the discipline of public officers, it says that when it comes to a minor infraction, that the first one, the officer should be written to and not per se take direct disciplinary action against the individual. The infraction that was uncovered would amount to a minor infraction, not a major. The investigation itself surrounding the landing of the plane yield nothing against Mr. Vidal. You cannot acquiesce on something that you know nothing about. Because acquiescence simply means that you reluctantly allow something to happen without a protest. You can't protest against something you don't know what's happening. And myself as the Commissioner of Police, I don't micromanage my officers. They can tell you, as much as my friend might think the opposite, that I allow them to do their work. But when things are not going as I expect it to go, I will reel them in, and when I need to whip them, I'm going to whip them and put them back out to do their job.
Viewers may recall that Corporal Elmer Na, a former member of ACP Vidal's team, was charged with keeping unlicensed ammunition after he was busted with over 100 rounds at a checkpoint in Independence Village following the drug plane landing. At the time, the Commissioner of Police confirmed that the ammunitions are the property of the police department. But because Corporal Na was on leave, he ought to not have been in possession of that quantity of rounds. In the event an operation is to take place, ACP Vidal would have had the authority as the issuing officer to distribute ammunition to members of his team. And while that may have been the case here, Compal Williams explained what the police believes happened in this event.
One of the issues we had was that we believe that after any operations were to be conducted, because he have a right to issue ammunition to people when they go on operations, but we believe that once the operation is over, that they should return those ammunitions in until when they're ready to go out again. That was not done. Now, that could have been for good reasons. Perhaps because they were always on operations, right? It's not like they were doing once a week operations. They were all over the country. And as Mr. Vasquez have also said, and the minister said, that they were very result-oriented. So they were out, they were operating, and because of that, perhaps that's the reason why he did not have them return those ammunitions after the operation, because he would have to be issuing ammunition to them every day. So it's something we have to look at and look at very objectively. Police officers on operations can carry ammunitions at large quantities because you don't know what you're going to encounter. We can't.
They were encountering drug planes that they were helping to land.
Again, Marisol, we have to be real. They were also involved in responding to plane landings. You can't send officers to respond to plane landing with 20 ammunition, with 40 ammunition. You don't know what they're going to encounter. So the issuance of those ammunitions could easily be justified. Yes, obviously it shows now in hindsight that perhaps they were using it for the wrong reason. But the issuing officer at that time would not know. So we can't kill the man for that.
MS-13 gang members are fleeing to Belize following a crackdown on gangs in El Salvador by President Nayib Bukele. President Bukele's administration has been detaining gang members and putting them in tough conditions inside Salvadoran prisons. This response came after the nation experienced its highest single-day murder toll a month ago. Now, some of those gang members are fleeing to Belize. This has become of great concern for local law enforcement officers.
I can tell you that we continue to be on high alert along the borders. As a matter of fact, we have intensified our border presence with police officers from MIT, ensuring that the unofficial border areas, particularly in the west, is covered by police officers, and we have our operations in that area with police, immigration, and custom. And so they are on high alert to make sure that if any of those persons were to come, we can intercept them. I can tell you that again, yesterday we intercepted another one of those persons.
As you know, we have very porous borders, but it is incumbent on our police department to work along with various communities in getting information and intelligence on the whereabouts of any such individuals. We had reports about a week ago in the Belmopan area that we had visited. We didn't find anyone there, but I am told that there was a visit in San Ignacio and 3 individuals were found there. And so we're acting very swiftly, very decisively, because that's a very huge concern if we have those elements coming into our country.
After the break, weekend shootings in Belize City and St. Vibe Village. But first, here is a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
What if the profits of your bank were shared equally with you instead of with unknown shareholders and large corporations? What if those profits remained in Belize to enrich the communities where we live? What if just having an account with your bank meant that you were now a part owner of that bank? What if your voice mattered and you had a say in how your bank is being run? What if your bank was always looking out for your best interests and its biggest goal was to see you succeed? That's what it means to be part of a credit union where all of our members are in this together. Communities work best when they work for each other. Cooperation strengthens us all. Discover the credit union difference and find out just how stronger we can be together.
Belizeans deserve a fast, dependable, high-quality internet service in their homes for online, virtual classes, and to work from home. It's the new way of life. Diginet is the #1 fiber service that is powering Belize's digital transformation. And now, this reliable fiber service is even more affordable with our new entry plan. For a limited time only, you and your family can enjoy 20 megabits per second of fiber service to your home for only $49 monthly. No more missed classes and interrupted meetings. It's costing you time and money. Diginet is better than cable and better than wireless. Visit a Digistore today to sign up for the best home internet service in Belize. Come see what you've been missing. Same high quality, fast, and reliable fiber service, now at an even lower price. For more information, visit livedigi.com/Diginet. Digi, our national telecom.
A foiled burglary at a nightclub on the Philip Golson Highway over the weekend has resulted in one of several thieves being shot. Belize City Police responded to the Titanic nightclub, formerly Dreamlike City, where they encountered 4 men fleeing the scene of the burglary. One of the men produced a firearm and opened fire on pursuing officers before jumping into the Hullover Creek. During the exchange of gunfire, that individual was injured. Assistant Superintendent Fitzroy Yearwood provides additional details about the incident.
Police officers from the Precinct 4 area responded to a burglary in progress at a popular nightclub on the Northern Highway, on the Philip Golson Highway. When police arrived on that scene, 4 men were seen fleeing. One of these men turned around and opened fire on the police that were pursuing him, and in a return of fire from the police, it appeared that one of them was injured. Despite being injured, these men managed to swim across the river. That would put you on the Lake Independence side of the river, but because of his injury, police caught up with him and he was transported to the KHMH, where he remains under police guard at this time.
Have police detained anyone else?
Well, I know that they have conducted several searches to try to locate his accomplices, but none has been relayed to me at this time, whether or not they were fruitful in detaining any of the other three persons that were with him.
Nothing was done.
Well, the owners haven't indicated to us whether any property was taken. But like I said, under a previous name, that very establishment was burglarized in a similar fashion by residents of the Lake Independence area. No?
There was also an attempt on the life of a villager in St. Bite over the weekend. Frank Augustin was injured when someone shot him while he attempted to enter his vehicle. A suspect is being sought in connection with this shooting.
St. Bite resident Frank Augustin was leaving an establishment, and upon opening the door for his vehicle, a single gunman approached him and opened fire at him, injuring him, and now he is in a hospital with a gunshot wound to the chest. Police are looking for a person that known to them, and hopefully by detaining that person we could get some kind of information enough to warrant an arrest.
An all-points bulletin remains in effect for the capture of Kriston Roca, who is wanted by police for stabbing his former common-law wife, Vanessa Reyes, in Placencia during the Easter weekend. Despite issuing wanted posters at various border points across the country, Roca, a Honduran national, is yet to be apprehended.
So we have a countrywide hunt for him. We keep sending the posters to our counterparts at the borderline of this country. We have conducted several searches based on tips that he was believed to be on a certain island. And I am telling you that the search continues for him, because this is not a case that we can take lightly. If those persons on that morning didn't intervene and stop him from carrying out what I fear would have been a fatal incident, then we would have been investigating a murder at this time. We continue to appeal to the general public to assist us in locating this person. I know that we have circulated his photos in every means that we can, and we will do it again today, and I will continue to do it on an almost daily basis until we locate this man and bring him to justice now.
The Belize Police Department recently deployed a number of specialized units in Belize City as a means of addressing gang-related violence in the old capital. Among them is the Special Patrol Unit, a team that is led by Assistant Superintendent of Police Aaron Gamboa, who the Commissioner of Police praises as being result-oriented. Compal Williams says the units have been strategically placed in areas where gang flare-ups and retaliations are expected.
You know the dynamics of Belize City, the complexity of policing Belize City. It is not like you can take off your cap and pull a feather from there and you wave that feather and the problem goes away. It is so complex, it is changing, and as a department we try to be as versatile as we can to be able to address the problem. And whenever we see that there is some flare-up, you know that once there's a gang-related murder, a retaliation is inevitable. We know that. It would be idle of us, or as your favorite word would go, I wouldn't acquiesce on something like that to know that there might be some retaliation and we do nothing. So yes, I deployed additional human resources to Belize City from our specialized unit to be able to address the gang issue. So they are in the gang-ridden areas, especially those areas where we expect flare-up, ensuring that we do what needs to be done to prevent any retaliation in respect to the recent shootings that we have had.
Sir, and one of those specialized units is the SPU, and we know that Mr. Gamboa has been the head of the SPU for very many years. Is it too many years, sir? And does he continue to enjoy this post because you and him are friends, or you and him might have a family relationship?
Life is about making sure you do things that is going to ensure that whatever you want to achieve is achieved. Mr. Gamboa, regardless of what anybody may want to say about him, he is an effective commander. You give him a task and he is going to run with it, and he's going to make sure he do his best so that we can achieve the desired results at the end. And that is the reason why he remains to be the commander of the SPU.
Liquor license extensions are creating a problem for police enforcement in Belize City. According to Compal Williams, extension approvals are being granted to several establishments within the city without police knowledge. As a result, the department recently met with the Liquor Licensing Board to have a discussion on the issue. Compal Williams explained.
Certainly, yes, we had a meeting with the mayor and the chairman of the Liquor Licensing Board, Mr. Madrid, to discuss the issuance of liquor license extension. Because we were seeing that places were given extension unknown to the police, and the law is clear that in order for you to have a nightclub license, your place must be soundproof. And if it is that you're going to have any outdoor event where noise or music will be played, your place it should not be. And so we had a very cordial discussion about it, and moving forward, the chairman expressed that he's going to ensure that the police is in the loop when these license or extensions are being issued so that we can be on the same page.
Just ahead, Stan Creek West Area Representative Rodwell Ferguson travels to Silk Key and sharks and their importance to the marine ecosystems. But first, here's a weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
This May will be amazing at Benny's.
Get amazing deals and great gifts from Mom. We have Pyrex Bakeware, Chicago Cutlery Knife Sets, Corningware, Snapware, and the elegant yet durable Coral Dinnerware Sets at amazing prices. Check out our impressive line of Sankey appliances and much, much more. Take advantage of these amazing deals all May long only at Benny's, celebrating 75 years of quality and savings.
Team
We live in a world obsessed with the latest trends, fashions, and lifestyles, setting unrealistic expectations and wanting to alter everything about ourselves. How is this affecting our self-worth? What if we were able to silence all the noise and focus on what really matters? Join us right here for Sagebrush Church as we begin our new series, Identity Theft, where we will discuss how to live in a world with ever-changing standards of perfection.
Hospital Galenia cuenta con las 4 más importantes certificaciones hospitalarias en el mundo, incluyendo la certificación internacional AENOR, que avala las mejores prácticas para evitar la propagación del SARS-CoV-2 en los hospitales.
Hospital Galenia, más que un hospital.
Bio-based plastics are plastics made partially or entirely from plant or biological material instead of petroleum. For example, plastics made from sugarcane bagasse, starch, and hemp. Bio-based plastics are great alternatives to petroleum-based plastics commonly found on the market and are mostly used in packaging applications and in fibers in the textile sector. If properly disposed of, these plastics break down faster and have little to no negative side effects on the environment when broken down. Click on the link below to see what you can do to help end the nightmare of single-use plastics. I'm Alison Castillo, and now you know.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new SmartStream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, SmartStream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with SmartStream.
The 7 Cubans who wanted to seek amnesty in Belize will know their fate around the end of the month. That is how long it will take the two sides in the matter to present their closing submissions and counter-submissions before the presiding judge makes her ruling. News 5's Marian Ali attended the morning's proceedings. Here's her report on that matter.
3 immigration officers took the witness stand today in the case of the Cubans versus the state. Leandro Quishan, Angie Palacio, and Albert Monings told the court that, contrary to what the Cubans claim, they informed them upon their detention in February what their offense was after they entered Belize illegally, as well as what course of action would follow. The Cubans sought the Human Rights Commission of Belize to take up a case against the state on grounds that they were not properly informed of their offense. They also claimed that certain rights were violated. That is, that they were not afforded a phone call while in detention, that they were not informed in the Spanish language so they could properly understand what repercussions accompanied their illegal entry into Belize, that they would be charged and taken to court, and also that they had a right to an attorney. Upon cross-examination in court, Mornings revealed that one of the twin daughters for Yenisyn Del Toro Perez, who had tested positive for COVID when they were detained, was quarantined in a holding cell at the Corozal police station because there was nowhere else available at the time. He also said that a similar quarantine setting was provided for Nurisledis Garcia, one of the Cuban women who was pregnant at the time and who had also tested positive for COVID. Mornings also told the court that at the time when the Cubans were apprehended, the magistrate who dealt with their case did ask whether the immigration authorities had contacted the refugee department, since the Cubans had made it known that they did not want to return to Cuba. At that time, the office was closed, however, because of COVID restrictions that were in place. The magistrate informed that she had no option but to issue an order of removal for the Cubans from Belize after they had paid their fines, having pleaded guilty to failing to produce a valid visitor's permit upon demand. But the Cubans admit that they have been resisting returning to Cuba. Hence, they have been kept at the Belize Central Prison until the case is through and their fate is known. Today, Justice Lisa Schuman said that, based on the case presented, her task is only to determine whether or not the state has imprisoned the Cubans unlawfully. She pointed out that there is nothing to show that the Cubans have applied for amnesty or that anybody has done so on their behalf. She ordered that lead attorney for the Cubans, Leo Bradley Jr., follows up to ensure that all of the Cubans' human rights are taken care of while they remain in detention. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marion Ali.
A powerful explosion at a luxury hotel in Cuba on Friday has reduced an entire section of the building to rubble, killing at least 35 people and leaving 20 hospitalized with injuries. The Hotel Saratoga, a 5-star 96-room hotel in Old Havana, was preparing to reopen after being closed for 2 years when a gas leak ignited, blowing the outer walls. The blast also damaged several nearby structures. Here is a clip from CNN News, which has been covering the event since it happened.
This is the scene just moments after a powerful explosion ripped through downtown Havana. The Saratoga just blew up in front of me, says the man recording. Rubble from the 6-story Saratoga Hotel covering the streets 100 feet in every direction. The $700 a night establishment just 4 days away from reopening its doors. In one section of the building still left standing, survivors are seen dangerously close to the edge. As first responders rescued survivors, witnesses described the carnage. People screaming, the smoke, it was like a real-life horror film, she says. As firemen and rescuers worked on site, desperate relatives arrived in hospitals searching for loved ones. Cuban authorities believe the massive explosion was caused by a gas leak. The mayor of Havana says the hotel chef miraculously survived. He smelled gas shortly before the explosion and was able to warn others before fleeing the kitchen. State News Television warning people to stay clear of the area as Cuban authorities continue to search for survivors.
Today, search crews with dogs hunted through the debris looking for missing people. Fortunately, no Belizean was hurt in the explosion. The Belizean government has sent a note of solidarity to the Cuban government in the wake of the tragedy. They are considered ferocious predators and are often depicted as just that in films. But to Mara Lions, sharks are the heartbeat of the ocean and, as a result, must be protected at all cost. That is why the work Mara Lions is doing to protect sharks across the region is so critical. On Friday, a News 5 team was invited to Mara Lions' temporary base on Half Moon Cay, where we got a glimpse into their decade-and-a-half effort to monitor and rehabilitate the shark population in the Lighthouse Reef Atoll. Studies show that the atoll has the greatest concentration of shark species in Belize's waters. News 5's Paul Lopez has the story.
A decade and a half ago, the estimated shark population in Belize was at serious risk of disappearing. Today, those numbers have rebounded thanks to the work of Dr. Rachel Graham and her team at Mar Alliance. Dr. Graham has been working with sharks in Belize since 1998. She began with research on whale sharks within Gladden Spit and Silk Key Marine Reserve. Then, in 2004, Mar Alliance shifted its focus to the Lighthouse Reef Atoll, where it is now monitoring this megafauna.
From the whale shark work that I did in 1998, which kind of wrapped more in mid-2000, in like 2005, during that time in working with traditional fishers from several communities down south, PG, Independence, Placencia, Monkey River, and more, they were telling me, look, you know, there's a real problem. There aren't many sharks left. We're seeing fewer and fewer sharks out here. And so once we got whale sharks protected and Gladden Spit, Silk Keys Marine Protected Area done, it was then time to look at what the situation was with other sharks.
Every year for the past 15 years, a team of fishermen and scientists has been setting up camp for 2 weeks and a half on Half Moon Key, located within the atoll. This is the base where monitoring will be conducted in the surrounding waters. Today, we saw the long line, a method used for collecting data. A 500-foot rope fitted with 50 lines of hook and baited with slices of barracuda is placed on the surface to catch sharks.
We caught 4 sharks today. In fact, you know, we have such an amazing team. We have this incredible alliance with fishers and guides and fisheries. We all caught actually 7 sharks in total and 1 big loggerhead turtle to put a satellite tag on. But right with this boat, 4 sharks.
Okay.
Couple of females, couple of males.
Okay, so tell us about the species and the sizes.
So what we caught just a few minutes ago, we caught 4 Caribbean reef sharks. They're probably the second most common type of shark in the Caribbean, but they've really been hit very hard by overfishing in the past few years, I'd say 10, 20 years, but they're really coming back, and we're starting to see them come back in a big way in Lighthouse and Turneff and other places. So we're very excited about that because they mean a lot for Belize's tourism, and also they keep the coral reef really, really healthy.
Mar Alliance has tagged over 1,000 sharks over the last decade. The greatest threat to the shark population in Belize is the illegal transnational trade. Neighboring Guatemala and Honduras are said to have a huge appetite for shark meat.
Generally speaking, there's not a culture of eating a lot of shark here in Belize. You know, people say, oh, I love my panades, but a lot of people have moved over to fish panades or bin panades, and especially because, you know, I put out a documentary in 2011, Where Have Our Sharks Gone? And a lot of them went not only onto people's plates and in panades, but especially over the border. So the majority of our sharks really are going over the border because there is more of a culture of eating shark.
In addition to Mar Alliance's work, enforcement is also required to ensure that fishermen are not fishing within a no-take zone and that those fishing sharks are doing so with a necessary license. Marty Alvarez, the Marine Area Protected Manager at the Belize Audubon Society, spoke to us about the challenges that come with patrolling the atoll.
We've seen earlier we had some fishers that were very close to the zone. They are playing cat and mouse, basically. So what they do, they might fish close to the zone, close to the border, which is the no-take zone, and when the patrol vessel reach in front of them, then they would say, you know what, boss, I'm outside the zone, so I can't be charged. So it's something that we need to educate them about, that there be more stewards of their environment.
While these challenges persist within the fishing community, more and more career fishermen are seeing the importance of protecting the shark population for future generations. Fishermen Hilmar Salazar and Evaristo Muschamp left their fishing career to contribute to this important work.
It was like, I don't know what they're doing with sharks. I was so scared about it. But when I saw what they were doing, then they get a question mark in my head, and I say, I want to see what is going on and what they do with these animals, why they're tagging, and there comes that question in my head, and I say, well, I will stay here and see what they were going to do. And from there comes that passion.
For me, doing research is important to make sure we have a better understanding of the fishing industry, and so we could have long-lasting industry here in Belize, so other, like our generation, to come could have these marine wildlife to see as well.
I think one of the things that makes it absolutely worth it is seeing not only the incredible teamwork that we have between fishers and scientists and institutions all working together to see the sharks coming back after their populations being hit so hard.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
Stand Creek West Area Representative Rodwell Ferguson journeyed to Silkee over the weekend at the invitation of Placencia residents who are concerned about the degradation of the island. Silkee has been in the news recently because a team led by Eworth Garbutt attempted to reclaim parts of the island that had been affected by erosion. While those efforts turned out to be controversial, government has pledged to address the matter. Minister Ferguson spoke with residents who accompanied him to the island.
I reached here this morning maybe about 8:45, and I see what has materialized over a period of years. And last week you all tried to attempt to figure out how you can fix it. That was a good initiative because what you did, you got the awareness of government. To say government, you need to do something urgently. So when I went to cabinet last week, I told the cabinet that this is an urgent matter, and the minister was instructed, the minister of the Blue Economy and the PRS, to meet with you guys quickly and figure out how we can proceed. So I'll go back to cabinet on Monday, and I will tell them this is my second thing I bring to cabinet again. Please address the situation quickly. We have to restore back Silkee for the livelihood of our tour guides.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I said today I had one tight schedule. When I get a call yesterday, I said, man, what am I doing? But right away I responded, and I said I will come at least till 11 o'clock. But I'm here at almost 11. I reach up going late again for next schedule. But I make sure I'm here today because this is for the benefit of all Belizeans and foreigners alike. So thank you very much.
Up next, a basketball tournament to unite Belize City gangs when we return.
What is the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine? The Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine is an RNA vaccine that triggers our immune system to develop antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. It helps to reduce hospitalization, severity of the disease, and death. What is the Pfizer vaccine made of, and is it safe? The Pfizer vaccine is made up of mRNA messenger ribonucleic acid, which are molecules that carry the genetic information needed to make proteins, lipid, salts, and sugar. It is safe for persons 12 years and older and does not contain the COVID-19 virus, hence cannot cause infection. Tests have shown that the vaccine is effective against current virus variants. Who should take the Pfizer vaccine? The Pfizer vaccine should be taken by persons 12 years of age and older who do not have severe allergic reaction after a previous dose of vaccine or have not had severe allergic reaction to any ingredient of this vaccine. 2 doses of the vaccine are required 3 weeks apart. If you are between the ages of 12 and 17 years, you are required to present a signed consent form before you are vaccinated. What are the side effects of the Pfizer vaccine? Some common side effects of the Pfizer vaccine are headache, fatigue, muscle pain, fever, chills, and swelling at the injection site. If side effects persist, contact your doctor as soon as possible. Does the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine prevent infection and transmission? No, vaccination alone does not prevent infection and transmission. We are still required to continue to wear masks properly, physically distance, wash and sanitize hands often, practice proper coughing and sneezing hygiene, and avoid crowds.
and Messi is standing over this. Messi.
Great entertainment stays with you, and we bring you great entertainment. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new SmartStream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, SmartStream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with SmartStream.
The Ministry of Home Affairs, in partnership with Sprite, officially opened its Sprite Live Life Basketball Youth Tournament 2022 on Saturday. The competition is seeing participation from 15 teams across the Belize District. These are teams made up of young men who are prone to become victims of the gang warfare that plagues their communities. But on the basketball court, a different kind of rivalry is playing out. A healthy competition. And it is the hope of organizers that this healthy rivalry will help to resolve many of the tensions these young athletes may have with each other in the streets. News 5's Paul Lopez reports.
What I call a great initiative, and we have to thank the Commissioner of Police and his team for bringing about this basketball tournament. And I love the name of the tournament, Live Life.
The Sprite Live Life Basketball Youth Tournament 2022 began on Saturday with 15 participating teams from across the Belize District. The teams competing against each other are feuding groups whose encounter in any other circumstance could quickly become violent.
This basketball tournament is a part of our intervention with our youths on the streets, doing intervention through sports. So for those persons who sit on a fence or in a water tank or confined between rocks and not seeing what is being done, not just from a police standpoint, but from the cabinet standpoint, to address the issue of crime and violence in this country, I would say to them, please come out, look at what we're doing, be a part of it, and not just sit in a corner or in your water tank and criticize.
For your fans in your community to be able to traverse and go into another community that is supposedly rival gangs, to sit down in the stands with those other fans and to realize we don't really have any differences among each other. There is no real purpose behind any killing that is happening. And I know that, yes, when they kill a family member, that hurts deeply, and you carry that with you 20, 30, 40 years. And you see that person again, it's still there. And I know how much that can upset you.
According to the Commissioner of Police, the tournament presents an opportunity for players from rival groups to develop healthy conflict resolution skills.
Don't you think that having these rivaling groups on a basketball court, playing against a rival group, that is some form of effective conflict resolution? It's a way for them to come together and see how they could understand each other and see that, you know what, even though we might have difference in circumstances in terms of where we live or the color we support, that we have many things in common that we can focus on. Here we are on the basketball court together, and we are coexisting.
Each team was given individual jerseys and a basketball. The largest sponsor, Sprite, says it is glad that the tournament has returned after a hiatus caused by COVID-19.
It is exciting to see so many of our city youths eager to return to the basketball court for some healthy competition. And it's not only about winning. Players will draw on their teamwork skills, build confidence as they compete, and practice good sportsmanship.
Day one of the tournament ended with several teams showing dominance on the scoreboard. The competition will run through the next 6 months. It will run simultaneously with a national tournament. Following the competition of the tournaments, winning teams from each district will face off against each other.
We look at crime as a police issue only. And I think that is where we have been making a mistake for all these decades. It really should be more inclusive. We should have more stakeholders at the table. And we have done that through the Leadership Intervention Unit. But it's not just through sporting programs or social programs or education. We have to create opportunities for these young men. And so that is what this entire multi-sectoral approach is about. Bringing all the stakeholders together who realize that crime is not a policing issue. Yes, fighting crime and arresting individuals and prosecuting them, that is the job of the police department and the judiciary. But at the same time, there are root causes of crime that we need to address.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
In the wake of the stabbing death of footballer Chris Rodriguez by the caretaker of Norman Broster Stadium in San Ignacio, the National Sports Council of Belize has issued a memo on fees for use of sporting facilities countrywide. There had been outrage on social media platforms claiming that Rodriguez was killed for not wanting to pay a $15 fee to use the training facilities. Director of the National Sports Council, Ian Call, today clarified that no charges were to be imposed on the individual footballer and spoke of the new rules going forward for teams as well.
The fees are something that has been implemented ever since, has been here since the last administration, and prior to them it was still there as well. So it was something that has been here ever since. Why? You know that the National Sports Council is a statutory body. We are an arm of the government. We receive a subvention from the government, a yearly subvention, and then we are in charge to raise our own funds for us to be able to sustain the facilities. I want to clarify, I want to make extremely clear that there's no fee for young people to enter our facilities or any individual per se to use our facilities. If a child wants to come in and run at Marion Jones, they're free to do so. Every day you see a number of kids playing here at Marion Jones, cycling, track. These people use these facilities free of cost. No fee countrywide for any individual person or a group of young people to play or use our facilities. What there is a fee for is for training facilities where teams go to train, national teams, bigger teams go to train and prepare for competitions. That is where there's a fee for. And that was, in this case, that is a fee of $15 per team, not per member, per team, per hour. And why there's a fee, Dwayne, as I mentioned before, the entire team pays $15 because they need to book their hour. There's a number of teams that want to use the facility, so it has to be controlled.
With immediate effect, teams are to continue booking for practice. Teams will also be allowed to practice for free of cost during the day, and teams requesting practice time at night will be allowed two hours free light usage. The National Sports Council has inherited a number of new facilities as the NSC now has representation countrywide. Prime Minister John Briceño was present at the launch of the multinational defense exercise Tradewinds 2022 on Saturday in Lady Village. The two-week exercise will see 1,800 military men from 20 nations training shoulder to shoulder. It is a display of force and unity among these nations on land, air, sea, and even in cybersecurity. Mexico is co-hosting the exercise with Belize. The country is hosting the maritime activities. U.S. Southern Command is sponsoring Tradewinds 2022. We spoke with Prime Minister John Briceño and Kevin Bostic, the Southcom director, about the exercise.
Tradewinds is a yearly exercise that takes place in the region, and it's a good opportunity where the different countries can cooperate with one another in issues of not only security but on emergency instances, for instance like COVID or if there's a hurricane. So I think it's a wonderful exercise. We have countries from all over the region, including as far as Brazil and Canada. Mexico for the first time is co-hosting with Belize in this case. At one time I was told that the exercise was for 4 weeks. Unfortunately, I think they've cut it down for 2 weeks. So we're very excited. We're happy that they're here. It's about a little over 1,000 soldiers that are going to be here doing this 2-week exercise.
We always have a standard. We say in the United States, train as you fight. So if I'm not going to battle the threat alone, I don't need to train alone. So, and then it's significant in that with Mexico being right next door to Belize, let's say if there's a threat that starts off the coast of Belize and moves through Belize, where are they going? They're going into Mexico. Or if they're coming from Mexico, coming into Belize. So that lasts up between those two countries to have this exercise working together simultaneously lets everybody know each other and helps to counter those threats no matter which direction they may come from.
It's not June yet, but the first tropical wave was detected over the weekend in what weather experts are calling an early 2022 Atlantic hurricane season. But while the hurricane season for this region officially opens in June and ends in December, Chief Meteorologist Ronald Gordon says it is not strange for these weather systems to develop outside of that period.
The tropical waves start emerging off the coast of Africa from as early as May, and that goes on to until about November. So it is not unusual. What typically occurs is that these waves in the early part of the season, or where we haven't started hurricane season yet, but these waves that emerge in May are typically what we call low latitude waves. So they will not affect anywhere north of about 15 north. And that's what we're seeing. People hear tropical waves and they mistake it for tropical storms. So it's something completely different. A tropical wave is just a disturbance in the atmosphere that could result in strong thunderstorm activity, but it's not even a tropical depression as yet.
A normal hurricane season comprises of 14 named storms. This year, there are 19, making it an above-average season. Tonight, we note that the passing of Belize's oldest woman. Earlier today, our newsroom was informed that Leonora Patnett, whom we have covered for several years since turning 100, passed away. She was 108 years old. And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.